I'm going to tell you about my year with all the juicy, messy bits, and at the end I'm going to try and find a word which captures my 2023. As you listen, maybe you'll be inspired to find a word that captures your 2023 too.
Change like the wind, like the water, like skin. Change.
This is the year that I doubted myself the most. Not in a look in the mirror and dislike yourself kind of way, but a deep, value-quaking doubt that niggles at everything you thought you were, threatens your sense of purpose, and removes the essential first two letters from your namesake. Jaded. I felt jaded. I doubted my competence in so many areas. I doubted my voice online and whether I want to keep existing in this space. I doubted my ability to inspire others because I couldn't even inspire myself. I have been one big bundle of self-doubt. But for once, I didn't pretend to have the answers. I didn't mold my question marks to straight exclamations. No. I really let myself sit in the uncertainty, no matter how undesirable it felt. And I am so proud of myself for that. My whole life, I've always been in a rush to prove myself. Whether it was working endless hours, dragging myself up at 5 a.m, working tirelessly on my pipe dreams, spending every single school holiday doing work experience, saying yes to projects that made me feel impressive, even though I was absolutely running myself into the ground, or giving others smiles and joy, even when I felt miserable. But this year has been a year of real, true, messy authenticity. And even though I've never felt less impressive, I feel so truly proud of myself. For some people, growth is pushing themselves harder. For others like me, it is sitting in the discomfort of less. 2023 was not my favorite year of my life, but it sure was one of growth. If you're here watching this, and especially if you've been watching me for many years, I really think of you as a friend, and I think of this corner of the internet as a diary of sorts. So this video is a piece of my unguarded heart. Thank you for being here. Before we jump in, this video is so kindly sponsored by a tool that I use every single week. I've been using it for like 8 years of my life, and it's such a pinnacle of keeping my digital life together. The end of the year is such a time to reflect and to sweep away the old so that you can clear space for the new. And Clean My Mac X, my God, this is the way that you sweep away the old in your digital life. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I deal with this many large files on my laptop? My laptop became so slow, it was so unbearable, and my dad introduced me to this tool called Clean My Mac X. It's super affordable and it has features like a smart scan where you can literally scan your entire device, your entire laptop. You can see where all the big files are that are keeping up all your space, and then you can just clear them, and it clears away like all the junk and files. And I feel like sometimes when you just empty stuff from the trash can, it doesn't get all the files, like it doesn't improve the speed of your computer. There's this thing called Space Lens where it shows me if I have repeats of the same file. Like I had about 50 million versions of my dissertation on my laptop, and it really helped me clear away to create space. It is the most essential tool that I have to keep my laptop feeling light, and that is so important for me being able to create, feeling like the tools that I have to use are working for me. If your laptop is slow, guys, you need this. You can literally make your computer feel brand new for the new year, so I highly recommend Clean My Mac X. They are so kind. They have given me a 7-day free trial for you guys, so you can literally like today get it completely for free and clear up your space for the coming year. The code is in my description. You can get up to 5 licenses for 30% off. Now that we've cleared our digital space, let's clear our emotional space. And I'm ready to reflect on this year. Here we go. Here's the tea. At the start of this year, I learned what heartbreak feels like. And it wrecked me to my core. In January, I dragged myself up every day in the illusion that I was fine. I did my routines. I walked up the stairs to the shared Minerva Dorm's rooftop, rolled out my yoga mat, and sat there and sobbed. I became intimately accustomed to the hang of string lights above me, the mountain of green at my right, and the comforting throng of Taipei City to my left. For the first time in my life, I listened to love songs about breakups, and I understood them. I understood how a human could experience such visceral pain despite being physically well. Night after night, no matter how busy or socially stretched I was, I'd find the energy to crawl up to my top bunk and wallow. Truly wallow. I'd hand my body to the emotion like a carcass to the wolves. Let it devour me. Let my beloved roommate witness me in such irrational pain and be totally unapologetic about it. No coincidence, your grandma human entered her first and maybe last clubbing era. Final semester, final chance to dance with people who felt like family. I slapped queerness on my forehead with a dented marker pen. Let my body fall into lips and arms and curls and perfumes to dull the bite in my heart. But back in my bunk, it only bit back harder. This was a semester of contrasts. But despite my pain, it was my absolute favourite semester of them all. I felt the most myself of all 8 semesters. I scaled mountains alone, befriended sweet locals, sang to Sun Moon Lake, trained in meditation with a literal Taiwanese monk, filmed a 20-episode video course and submitted my thesis. I birthed an academic baby. I got a first in my degree like I always dreamed that I could. And I did it all with newfound gems in my eyes, right at the budding corner. I deepened friendships with people I still talk to now every single week, and I solidified who earned my permanence. And then I graduated, just like that. May arrived like the tide, sure and true, lapping at my feet and beckoning me into the deep beyond. There were sunrises over a golden gate, boba shared in tender moments on the loin, feelings of both reconciliation and sheer dread in spending a month back in San Francisco, the city that had held a naive and excited baby Jade back in 2019. The city that had held the start of the best 4 years of my life, but the city that is pure paradox, with villages of people without homes just 2 streets away from the headquarters of the biggest tech firms. May was not without dismay. She was the season of burnouts and late nights, sucking every second left of Minerva through an ever-tightening straw. Sleep was not the priority, nor was health. Community breathed her intentions into every walk and talk. But more than anything, she started to close the door. Rather than experiencing a cold slam after throwing a tasseled hat to the sky, May was the buffer, the slow motion button, the closure. And I will always be grateful for May. Because June, she clicked that door shut. After the most wonderful post-graduation trip to stay with my Minerva friends in New York, I was gifted the ample alone time that I had sought for the last 4 years. Guys, I remember sitting in my childhood bedroom when I returned back to my hometown after graduating, staring at myself in the mirror and barely recognizing who I was. I remember the silence. The silence. How my brain seemed so cavernous. I was a never-ending should. Oh, Jade, you should go get a job instantly. You should work harder, but also you should relax after an entire massive degree of intensity. And yes, you are burnt out, so you should also spend time alone, but you should spend time with family after not being with them for so long. But maybe you should have worked in the US like all your other university friends. Should. I had forgotten the skill of being happy in my own company. Happy in my own mind. And so that was what June and July were for. My 10-day silent vipassana retreat was one of the biggest turning points of my postgraduate life. My lonely misery and purposeless emptiness suddenly seemed perfectly acceptable. In the space of sitting 12 hours a day in total silence, in total stillness, with only my mind for company, I gained something that I hadn't felt in such a long time. Peace. I forgot how it felt to not be rushing to complete deadlines, or wearing masks around people who scarred my heart, or checking my phone to dim the notifications. I was at peace, and it was mentally trying, exhausting, and the hardest thing that I've ever done, but somehow also a space of total peace. I remembered that mere existence is enough. That is the goal. To simply experience all that there is in this life and to sit with it as it changes in inevitable impermanence. When I left, the peace stayed with me for a while. I made the time to sit with myself for at least an hour a day. But as life often does, eventually the meditation practice and its learnings slipped away through my fingers as I readopted the stresses of life. I spent time with my family, who I'd only seen in blissful snippets the last 4 years. In the 4 months that I spent at home, I saw my parents anew. No longer were they my unflawed childhood protectors, dressed in a rose-tinted sheen. They were just messy humans like me. And I was their friend. I started to realize how much I had to teach them in return for all the years that they'd raised me. I made it my hometown goal that while I was there, I would reconnect with each of them and start to see them as full humans. My first September outside of education, late night funeral fueled conversations on the sofa, sound bath meditations with mum, walking willow in Braywick, experiencing autumn in the UK for the first time in 5 years. And yet with each falling leaf, I had to beg myself not to fall. At my core laid lapping flames of longing and nostalgia, missing my university friends, finally thinking all these thoughts I hadn't had the time or space to think for 4 years, loathing the uncertainty I'd created for myself in taking time to nurse my burnout. In my rest and in my phone calls, the idea finally came to me. I had made a promise with 2 beloved friends during university that if the time ever presented itself, we would spend some time in Lisbon. We fell in love with it 2 years ago, and so any opportunity that we had to come back, we would take it. And I just knew that for me, this was it. When was I ever going to feel this uncertain and this untethered again? Like, why not now? Suddenly plans materialized themselves in the way of posts and Facebook pages, online apartment interviews, remote jobs, and sheer willpower. Because this was it. A Lisbon chapter. In true Minerva style, I was going to spend about a semester in another new city. And I just couldn't wait. I live on a cobbled street in the old town, slap bang in the middle of a great big hill. Every day, my thighs scream at me, not just because of the streetly ascent, but because of the 6 flights of stairs that then follow. I have a desk overlooking copper brown roof slats, a devil's ivy plant adopted from a friend who I don't think really likes me because the leaves are always curling, a wall full of mismatched photos of my Minerva friends, and a kitchen which somehow always seems to gather dust no matter how many times you swipe it down. There are blue tiled walls in true Lisboa fashion, a real life bathtub which I consider a luxury after sharing a shower with 20 people last semester, and a housemate who obliges my deep questions into the late evenings. I developed a routine quickly, as Minerva taught me to do. Wake up early, take your AG1 supplements, run down to the river to marvel at the sunrise and remind you that you are very much alive, buy fresh bread from the bakery, come back, do yoga or meditate, shower, eat your bread, and get to the desk for about 9 AM to start your remote work. Simple, repeatable, almost always joyous. And so I settled into my grandma era. I go to bed early, I wake up early, I don't really party nor explore with the reckless, adventurous abandon of living in every Minerva city. I make friends, but not in a rushed and desperate fashion. I invest deeply in those I like, because I know that 1 or 2 good friends is far better than 10 half friends. I call my Minerva friends with routine frequency. Fong once a week, Annika every 3 weeks, Ha and Trang and Nikita and Duke and Kwok and Megan and Esther. I know how they all are at all times, and it makes me feel more successful than any job could. I know that when I fall, I have a tight net there to catch me. I practice introspection often. I journal. And I feel my messy feelings. And perhaps this is why I have so much self-doubt. Because at university, there was never time to sit still. The doubt was always shepherded away by a new task or a new conversation, and I never had time to sit in the uncomfortable space of overthinking my life. But here, I can live by my menstrual cycle, striving and driving on the weeks of energy and falling deeply into my intuition when my hormones invite me there. I do not feel fancy or successful. In fact, I feel like I have absolutely zero answers. I feel lost. I feel so lost, but I guess I feel okay with it. I do my remote job, not my dream job or the object of all my desires, but a good place to stay in routine and use the rest of my time to figure it all out. YouTube opportunities flow my way and I open my arms to them. Deep in my core, I am just not sure anymore. I don't know where I am going, what I am working towards, or what I want. I will not be in Lisbon next year. Every close friend I've made here will also leave by January, and so this life that has held my uncertainty will disappear soon with certainty. I am so thankful to this city for being my in-between, for offering me coffee shops where people take their time, for streets so old and tried and true that they remind you that every day is but a blip in the grand story of your existence. I am so grateful for my open heart. I am so grateful for the universe teaching me new lessons, even difficult ones, and nonetheless bringing me good people wherever I am. I am thankful for the universe providing endless mirrors to remind me that we are all human and we are all the same. And I am so grateful for you being in this corner of the internet with me as I change and grow, and whether I post frequently or not at all. This space will always remain safe and a place for me to be authentically myself. And I'm trying to unlearn the whims of the algorithm or old posting schedules or old habits and routines, and to just embrace the messiness of whatever I will post on here for a while at least. And so, sweet friend, if you had to describe your 2023 in one word, what would it be? And I know that's a hard question because there are so many happenings and it's hard to compress that all into one word. But I think for me, the word is uncertainty. I was hoping the word would be intuition. And even though I do feel like I followed my intuition on a lot of things this year, I still feel so unrooted and lost. But there's some kind of power that comes from owning it rather than just like pretending that I know what I'm doing. So this is my year of uncertainty, and it's fine, and I'm learning a lot from it, and I have absolutely no idea what 2024 and the future holds, but the more I lean into what feels right, I know that the answers will come slowly and surely, and I'm not in a rush because as I learned in The Alchemist, the book, the journey is the destination. The journey is the gift. If you made it to this point, I'm in awe of you. I can't believe you listened to my sweet rambles. It just means the world to me that there are people who, will hold this space with me and keep encouraging me to embrace these sides of myself. So thank you. If you made it to this point, please comment a word that you think describes your year, and I will do my absolute best to reply to you, to read your comments and hold them here. Thank you so much to Clean My Mac X for sponsoring today's video. And genuinely guys, like if your laptop is a mess and you just need to like sweep it all out for the new year, I can't recommend this tool enough. I don't know what I'd do without it. I'm sending you all the love. Have a gorgeous festive season. Have a gorgeous planning your new year. I'm sending you hugs. Bye.